flow, level 1 to 2. So in the Vinyasa style of the yoga practice, we'll be linking the movements or the asanas with breath. So it's really important to find a comfortable breath count here and move with your breath throughout the practice. And this is a flow levels 1 to 2. So what that means is I'll offer different options, but it's most beneficial if you have a basic understanding of most yoga asanas. So when you're ready, we're going to get started at the top of the mat in a comfortable seat. Sitting up nice and tall here, stacking the shoulders over the hips, sitting cross-legged or on your shins. Maybe a slight tuck of the chin. You can close your eyes or you can just keep your gaze nice and soft, gazing almost towards the tip of your nose if that would feel better. And we'll just take this first moment just to observe. Taking inventory of the body, the mind, the breath. What's going on in the mind? What sensations are you experiencing in the body? Where is the breath moving in the body? Just noticing. Meeting yourself where you are today in this very moment. Even if that's not where you were yesterday or the day before or even a couple minutes ago. Once you've had a moment to check in with yourself, start to manipulate the breath, taking the inhales in a little bit deeper, allowing the belly, the chest, and the lungs to fill up, and then exhaling a little bit slower. And if it feels okay, you'll even out the length of the inhales and the length of the exhales. Maybe starting with a 3 count, in for 3, out for 3. Maybe increase the breath count if you can. Again, just meet yourself where you are right now. And it's okay if the breath fluctuates throughout practice, just always being mindful and ultimately always coming back to the breath. Just a couple more breaths here in this quiet moment. Maybe for these last few breaths, if you close your eyes, maybe you flutter them open. And we'll start to stretch out the wrists as we continue to breathe in and out, bringing the hands to heart center and really keeping the heels of the hands pressing into each other. Keep that contact. Just pressing the heels of the hands down towards the ground. And if you feel that they start to separate away from one another, just come up a little bit higher. You should feel a nice stretch in the wrist crease and the heels of the hands here. When we add a little bit of intensity into the body, we tend to lose our breath or to take shorter inhales, less conscious exhales. Just be aware if that happens. And just come back, return to the breath. One more full cycle here. And as you're ready, we'll transition to a tabletop position, stacking the wrists underneath the shoulders, stacking the knees underneath the hips. Again, maybe taking some rocks back and forth, continuing to stretch out the wrists. You might take the fingertips and point them to the outside edges of the mat, taking those rocks side to side. And maybe even bring the backs of the hands to the mat. Really pressing the back of the hand down, stretching out the top of the wrist, the forearm. And then when you feel stretched out there, we'll move through some cat-cows, 5 rounds. On the inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze. And on the exhale, tucking the chin and rounding through the spine. Moving with your breath. 1 inhale per movement, 1 exhale per movement. Take your time to complete those 5 rounds, and when you're finished, we'll meet with a neutral spine, tabletop position, and then step the right foot out towards the side of the mat. So I'm actually facing the long edge of the mat, so you would step your foot outside of the long edge of the mat. And then walk your hands into the center of the body and bring your hands to your hips. So we're in this modified side lunge pose here. Really press into the pinky edge side of the right foot to stretch out the outer right leg, maybe even the inner thigh. Take an inhale here. And on your exhale, we'll find a side body stretch. So just let the left fingertips fall towards the ground. Maybe you tent the fingertips on the mat. And reach the right hand up and over the head, elongating the right side of the body. And allow your breath to move to the outer right rib cage, creating even more space. Long line of energy from the right side of the right foot to the tips of the right fingertips. 1 more breath here. And then we'll move into a modified side plank. So make a fist with your left hand and place it on the mat, or maybe you plant your whole entire left hand on the mat. Reach the right fingertips directly to the sky. Start to send your weight into your left shin and your left hand, and lift your right foot up to hip height. Holding for 5, active through the obliques for 4, 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower the foot down, coming back to center, planting the hands. We'll find a little stretch here, walking the hands forward, sending the hips back, breathing space into the right leg. Walk the fingertips out even further to stretch the shoulders a little bit more. And then we'll slowly come back to center, bringing the right knee in to meet the left, and finding 1 round of cat-cow. Coming back to neutral, and then we'll take that on the other side. This time the left foot steps outside of the mat on the left side. Walking the hands into center as you press into the pinky edge side of the left foot. Bringing the hands to the hips. You're in a modified side lunge. Big breath in here. And on your exhale, let the right fingertips fall to the right, left hand up and over the head. Breath into the left side body. Get nice and long. And then as you're ready, either make a fist with the right hand or plant the right hand completely on the mat, sending weight into the right hand and the right shin. Left fingertips reach directly up to the sky. Eventually that left foot comes up to hip height. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower down, press into the pinky edge side of the left foot. And we'll find that same stretch on this side, hands forward, hips back, stretching out the left leg. As you're ready, start to make your way back through center, walking the hands in, bringing the left knee in to meet the right. Find one round of cat-cow. And then as you're ready, I'm going to turn to face my mat regularly. Just lift the hips and find a downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of class, so find a little bit of movement. Bending into the left knee as you straighten the right leg. Bending into the right knee as you straighten the left leg. Maybe bend both of the knees at the same time, send the chest to the thighs, and then lift the hips up and the heels down. Couple breaths to do whatever feels good. And then eventually we'll settle into stillness, relaxing the shoulders down the back, squeezing the inner thighs and the glutes and the quads, active through the legs. Letting the heels reach down to the mat. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift the right leg. Oops, there's my island. Just up to about hip height, really squeezing the inner thighs together, keeping both of the hips square towards the ground. One inhale here. And on your exhale, slowly bring the right knee in towards the nose and step the right foot in between the hands. Dropping the back knee, untucking the toes, rising up for a low lunge. Interlacing the hands behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and let the fingertips come down the back leg. Open through the heart. Deep breaths. Sink into the right hip. One more here. And then slowly start to unwind. Framing the right foot with the hands, pressing the left toes into the mat, lifting the left knee, and then gently stepping the right foot back. You're in your high plank for an inhale. On your exhale, lower the knees, the chest, and the chin down to the mat. Inhale, untuck the toes, slither forward, baby cobra, squeeze the elbows together. And on your exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Reset in between sides. And we'll do it a little bit differently this time. Inhale, lift the left foot just to about hip height here. Flexing those left toes, keeping both of the hip points square to the mat. One more inhale here. And on your exhale, slowly bring the left knee in towards the nose. Step the left foot in between the hands. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes, and slowly begin to rise up. Low lunge. This time interlace the fingers behind the head as if we're moving into some crunches here. And then just let the elbows really splay out wide to the sides. Feel a little stretch in the biceps and the shoulders here. And just let your head be heavy, really letting it be supported by the hands. This might create a little back bend. Breathing here. you're ready, unwind, plant the hands to frame the left foot, tuck the back toes, lift the right knee off of the mat, left foot steps back, high plank, inhale here, exhale, lower the knees, the chest and the chin down to the mat, inhale, slither forward, baby cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. Three breaths here. On your next inhale, bend the knees, take your gaze towards your hands, and very slowly tiptoe your feet all the way to the top of the mat. And feel the weight start to shift into your hands here as you do so. Feel supported and stabilized by your shoulders and your wrists. And then once you get to that point where you can't move any further, just bend the knees, grab onto opposite elbows, and let everything hang heavy here. Taking some rock side to side, releasing tension in the lower back and the upper body. And preparing our body for some twists in today's practice. Go ahead and plant the left fingertips or just tent them right underneath the face. Bend the left knee a lot, straighten the right leg. Use that right hand to open the right shoulder, and if it feels okay, reach the right fingertips to the sky. 2 breaths. Slowly make your way back to center. Switching out the hands, tent the right fingertips underneath the face. Bend the right knee a lot, straighten the left leg as much as you can. Bring the left hand to the shoulder, really open that up, and then reach the left fingertips to the sky. 2 breaths. Slowly come back through center, letting the fingertips graze the mat beneath you, tucking the chin to the chest, bending the knees even more, and slowly rolling all the way up to standing, 1 vertebrae at a time. Meeting at the top of the mat in mountain pose. Maybe take some rocks back and forth, shifting your weight into the toes and then the heels. Eventually finding some equilibrium here, even weight in all 4 corners of the feet. Take an inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, squeeze them together, relax them down the back. Do that twice more. Inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, let it go. 1 more time, inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, just let them glide down the back. We'll flow through 3 sun salutations in A. Keep that integrity of the shoulders really reaching away from the ears. And on your next inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale to hinge at the hips, folding forward. Feel free to keep a bend in the knees here. On your next inhale, lift up halfway, fingertips to the mat or to the shins. Inhale here. And then exhale to plant the hands and step back to your high plank. We'll hold this first one. Squeezing everything into the midline. Slight bend in the elbows to activate the biceps. Hugging the belly button in and up. Squeezing all of the muscles in the legs. Pressing the floor away from you with both the fingertips and the toes. And then on your next inhale, start to shift your weight forward. Your shoulders will come past your wrists and will lower all the way down to the belly. Untucking the toes. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, let it go. Maybe this time you come to your highest point. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. 5 breaths in down dog in between rounds. That can be rest in a child's pose or a seated position. That can be stillness, or that can be any other movement that's calling to you. If you went somewhere else, just take your time to make your way back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees a lot, look to the top of the mat, and walk or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling to find that length in the spine, gazing forward. Exhale, fold, hands to the mat. Inhale, lift up, rooting to rise, reach the fingertips to the sky. And then exhale, fold right back down for round 2, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step right back to your high plank, lower all the way down to the belly, or lower down halfway, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, press into the tops of the feet wherever you are. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. After your 5 breaths, bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, walk or hop your feet to your hands, inhaling for length, exhaling to fold. Inhale, root through the heels, rise all the way up to standing, reach up, look up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, high to low plank, chaturanga dandasana. Your version. You can always take knees, chest, chin, or come down all the way to the belly. We'll all meet in down dog. Again, 5 breaths. I'm going to take child's pose this time. Bringing my knees out wide, big toes to touch. Just sinking my hips back to my heels. 5 breaths to reset. If you also went somewhere else, take your time to make your way back to downward facing dog, pressing into the hands, lifting the hips. And from here, we'll move right into our first standing sequence. On your next inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. Maybe lifting it a little bit higher this time. Inhale, lift up 1 more time. And then exhale, bring your right knee in towards your right elbow or tricep. Active through the core here. Inhale, back to your 3-legged dog after you give it a tap. Exhale, twist, right knee to left elbow or tricep. Holding here, or maybe stepping the right foot outside of the left hand Coming on to the long edge of the left foot and reaching the left fingertips to the sky, finding fallen triangle. So just like in your modified side plank, use the right hand to press the floor away from you and lift your hips up. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, plant the left hand. Very slowly bring the right knee back into the left tricep. And then inhale to lift up, 3-legged dog. Inhale here, lift the heel a little bit higher. Reach the left heel to the ground. And on your exhale, step the right foot all the way in between the hands, rising up, crescent lunge. Come back to your breath if you lost it. Really press the left heel towards the back of the room. Press into the back of the left leg. Active through the right heel. Really pressing it down. And then for these last few breaths, maybe you cactus the arms. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening the heart. On your next inhale, bring your hands to heart center and start to hinge forward at the hips, sending even more weight into your right heel, starting to fire up that right glute. And just hovering the torso over the right thigh. Starting to feel a little bit of a burn here. Maybe step the left foot in a couple inches closer. And as you're ready, we're going to transition to a standing position with the left knee into the chest. So really press into that right heel. Use a little bit of momentum and control to lift the left knee into the chest. Maybe touch the floor on your way there. And then open up that left knee, cross the left foot over the right with a flex in the foot. And sink back into your figure 4. Holding here in this balance. Really pressing the left knee down towards the mat. Flexing the left foot. One more full breath cycle. And then as you're ready again, really press into the right foot. Bring the left knee back into the chest. And we'll send the left leg all the way back for a warrior 3. Hinging forward at the hips. The torso will come parallel to the mat. Keep flexing the left foot and squeezing the inner thighs together. Change up the arms if you'd like. Airplane them or bring them long in front of you. Holding here for 3. For 2. On 1, slight bend in the right knee. Step all the way back. Crescent lunge. Keeping the hands at heart center. Inhale, grow the spine a little bit taller. And exhale, twist to the right. So you have the option to drop the back knee here if that would feel better. Really hooking that left arm and the outer right thigh. Pressing arm into thigh and thigh back into arm. If you find your balance here, you might lift that left knee once more. Gaze over your right shoulder if it feels good. And take 2 breaths. And the next time you inhale, keep the chest hovering nice and low. Come back through center. And then plant the hands to frame the right foot. Step the right foot back. Take a vinyasa here in between sides or skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides here. Take 2 breaths in your down dog. And on your next inhale, this time lift the left leg up to the sky. reaching that right heel towards the ground. Lift the left leg a little bit higher. And then inhale here. Exhale, left knee in towards the left elbow or tricep. Give it a tap. Inhale, back to three-legged dog. Maybe a breath here. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Left knee to right tricep or elbow. And then step that left foot outside of the right hand, coming onto the pinky edge side, the right foot. My knee just cracked. And then right fingertips reach up to the sky. Press the palm into the mat. Lift the hips away from the mat. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, plant the right hand. Slowly bring the left knee back in towards the right tricep. And then inhale, three-legged dog. Couple breaths here. Again, really lifting the left leg higher. Pulling the right heel towards the ground. One more inhale. And on your exhale, left foot steps all the way in between the hands. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge. Same press, that back leg, the back heel. Relax the shoulders. Maybe for these final few breaths, you cactus the arms, opening the heart to 90-degree angles. And then bring your hands into heart center and start to hinge forward at the hips. Feel that weight shift into the left heel. Feel that fire lighting in the left glute. Torso is just hovering over the left thigh. Maybe you step the right toes in just a couple inches. And then you know where we're going. Really press into the left heel here. Use a little bit of momentum to come all the way up to standing. Right knee into the chest. And then open that right hip, flexing the right foot, and placing it on top of the left knee or thigh, sinking into your figure 4. Balancing here if you fall out. No biggie, just come right back into it. Really sinking the hips back like you're sitting in a chair. And then we'll come back through where we came from, pressing into the left heel, bringing the right knee into the chest. And then sending the right leg back, hinging at the hips. Torso comes parallel to the mat. Maybe you rest your forehead on your furniture in the kitchen if that's accessible to you. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, slowly bend the left knee. Step all the way back, crescent lunge. Hands to heart center. Inhale, grow a little bit taller. Exhale, twist to the left. Hooking that right elbow outside of the left thigh, maybe dropping the back knee. And pressing the arm into the thigh back into the arm. And use that leverage to twist a little bit deeper. Once you feel stable, maybe you lift that right knee once more and take 2 breaths. And then as you're ready, slowly come back to center, keeping that chest nice and low. A little bit of fire in the glute. And then plant the hands, step back to your high plank. You can take a vinyasa or go right back to downward facing dog. And again, I'm just going to switch sides. You can stay where you are. And then go ahead and take 5 breaths in between sides here. If you're coming with me, we'll take another child's pose. Knees wide, toes together. And this time in your child's pose, walk the right hand towards the top right corner of the mat. And then bring your left hand to either settle beside it or on top of it. And as you really reach the left hip back, feel the stretch in the left side body. We're going to continue using our obliques here in class. So making sure we're stretching out the side body at the same time. And then come back through center to take it to the other side. The left hand comes towards the top left corner of the mat. The right hand comes beside it or on top of it. And really pull that right hip back. Feel the right side body lengthen. And then as you're ready, that side feels even with the other side, we'll make our way back to downward facing dog. Bringing the big toes to touch at the back of the mat. We started to open those hips with that figure 4 pose, but let's continue. Inhale, lifting the right leg to the sky, bending the right knee and opening the hip. Draw some circles either with the ankle or with the knee, whatever feels better in this moment. After a couple, just take them in the opposite direction. And then when you've taken circles in both directions, inhale to come back to 3-legged dog. And exhale to step the right foot in between the hands, setting up for warrior 2. Back foot spins parallel to the short edge of the mat. We'll find a little self-adjustment here in our warrior 2, bringing the left palm to meet the right palm. Notice how that left hip spins inward here. And then just like you're shooting a bow and arrow, you're gonna pull the left hand back, opening the left shoulder. That will naturally open the left hip. And notice how you're really open to the long edge of the mat here. Keep that alignment in your body and just take your gaze to the right middle finger. Shoulders are relaxed. Three more breaths. On your next inhale, flip the front palm, reverse your warrior, right hand up and over the head. Strong bend in the front knee still. If you'd like, you can take that left hand behind the back, maybe grab towards the right hip crease. Relax that left shoulder down. 2 more breaths. Use an inhale to come to side angle pose. Right forearm to right thigh. Left fingertips up and over the head. Again, one long line of energy all the way from the pinky edge side of the left foot to the tips of the left fingertips. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. So if you want to move into a different variation, feel free. If you want to find extended side angle or find a half or a full bind, maybe you start by taking the right hand to the inside of the right foot, reaching the left hand to the sky, and then maybe rotating that left hand so the palm faces behind you. Maybe grabbing for that right hip crease again. And if a full bind is in your practice, you'll weave the right arm under the right leg and grab onto the left wrist or the left fingertips. Really press that left shoulder back in space. Breathing here. If you lose your breath, come out of it. And as you're ready, we'll slowly start to unwind, coming back through a side angle pose. Inhale here. And on your exhale, come through warrior 2 for just a breath. Bring the hands to heart center. straighten the right leg, bend the left leg, and you're in Skandasana. If this feels okay, stay on the right heel. If you want to find a side lunge instead, kind of like we did in the beginning of class, just plant the whole right foot on the ground. Keep sinking into that left knee. Still stretching the same muscles here. One more full cycle of breath. And then slowly transition back to warrior two at the top of the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel the hands. Plant them inside of the right foot. And we're in lizard pose. Taking an active lizard to start, rocking back and forth. Maybe eventually you drop the knee, untuck the toes. You can come down to your forearms if that would feel nice. You can come onto the pinky edge side of the right foot and gently press the right knee away from you with the right hand, finding a twist in the upper body. Remember, wherever you go, take your breath. And then we'll all transition back to that active lizard pose. So tucking the left toes, lifting the left knee. And from here, we'll transition to a side plank. So planting the left hand underneath the face, coming onto the pinky edge side of the left foot. And you have options here. You can stack the right foot, you can stagger it, or you can drop the bottom knee and come into a side plank modified. But if you're in the full variation of side plank, stacking the feet, lifting the right fingertips to the sky, lifting the hips, pressing the mat away from you. We'll hold this for 5, for 4, 3, 2, maybe for another 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, come back to your high plank, slow and controlled. Take the vinyasa or skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. 3 breaths to reset in between sides. I'm going to switch one more time. And then as you're ready, bring the big toes to touch. Inhale, left leg lifts. Open up that left hip, bending the knee, stacking it over the right. Draw some circles with the ankle or the knee. After a couple, switch directions. And then inhale, come back through your 3-legged dog. And step the left foot in between the hands, rising up to warrior two. So same little adjustment that we took on the other side. Bringing the right palm forward to meet the left palm. Notice the hip turning towards the top of the mat. Keep the right foot parallel to the short edge. And then just like you're pulling a bow and arrow, pull the right hand back. Open your right shoulder on the way. Notice how the right hip opens again. And then reach the right fingertips behind you. Keeping your gaze towards the long edge of the mat, or if you can keep this alignment, this openness in the shoulders and the hips, take only your gaze over your left middle finger. Breathing here. On your next inhale, flip the front palm, reverse the warrior. You can stay here, you can find a half bind. Right hand will come towards the left hip crease. Still a strong bend in that front knee. One more full cycle of breath here. And the next time you inhale, we'll start to transition to side angle, left forearm to left thigh, right fingertips up and over the head. Take a moment here. This is home base. Find your breath here before you do anything else. And then if you want to take different variations, feel free to go there. If you took extended side angle on the other side, reach the right fingertips up. Press the left hand into the mat inside of the left foot. And maybe you turn that palm to face the back of the room. Grab for the left hip crease. Maybe that left arm comes underneath the left leg and grabs for the right wrist or the right fingertips. Pulling that right shoulder back in space. Breathing here. If you lose your breath, take it one notch back. And as you're ready, we'll slowly start to unwind, coming back to side angle. Inhale here. Exhale to come back through warrior two. Hands to heart center. Straighten the left leg, give it a break. Bend the right knee. Skandasana. Feel free to plant the left foot completely, finding more of a side lunge here. Couple breaths, be a little bit of movement or feel good. And then we'll take a slow transition back to warrior two at the top of the mat. Just an inhale. And then exhale, frame the front, plant the hands inside of the left foot. We're in lizard pose. Taking some rocks, side to side. Back and forth rather. Maybe eventually the right knee drops and the right foot untucks. Eventually we'll all meet back in that active lizard variation. Tucking the right toes, lifting the knee off of the ground. And then this time we'll come into side plank on the other side, planting the right hand, coming onto the pinky edge side of the right foot. And again, you can stack the left foot, you can stagger it, you can drop the bottom knee. Wherever you are, I won't trick you this time. We're holding for 10, 9, press the ground away for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, go ahead and plant the left hand back to high plank. Take a vinyasa here or skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we'll all find a child's pose. Knees apart, toes together, hips to heels. Maybe massaging the forehead on the mat. Find your breath, slow and steady. And after you've completed these breaths here, just slither onto the belly. Forearms will be parallel to one another. Untuck the back toes, and we're in a Sphinx pose here. So really press the elbows towards the center of the body. Pulling the chest through the biceps. Relaxing the shoulders down the back. 2 more breaths here. And then as you're ready, come all the way down onto the forehead. Bring the big toes to touch. Bring the arms long at your sides. Rest on a cheek. We'll find 3 rounds of back bends on the belly, bringing the forehead or the chin to the mat. Inhale, peel the head, neck, and shoulders up. Peel the hands up. Maybe lift the feet, reaching the fingertips towards the heels, using the back side of the core here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower down. Rest on the opposite cheek. Round 2 of locust pose, coming back to center. Forehead or the chin to the mat. Inhale, lift everything up. Maybe this time you interlace the hands behind the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades to lift the chest a little bit higher. Maybe lift the feet a couple more inches, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower down. Resting on the opposite cheek. Before we take our final round, we'll find a quad stretch. So bring your left forearm parallel to the top of the mat. And then from here, kick your right foot in towards your seat and see if you can grab onto your right foot with your right hand. If you can't, that's okay. Just keep pulling it in towards the seat, stretching out the quad. And then if you have the foot in the hand, maybe you rest the forehead on the forearm. And keep pulling your foot in closer to your seat. Find length in the front of the leg. Really stretching out the quad here. And then slowly release that right leg. Switch out the forearms. This time the left forearm will come parallel to the top of the mat. Kick the left foot in towards the seat and grab onto the left foot with the left hand. Really pull it in towards your seat. If you have the foot, maybe you rest the forehead on the forearm. And if you don't have the foot, make this a little bit more active. And just keep pressing the heel into the seat. And then slowly come out of it. You can take one final round of locusts, or if you've done some shoulder opening with those binds, your quads are now feeling a little bit more open, we'll go for one round of Vinyasa or bow pose. Again, kicking the heels in towards the seat, flexing the feet or pointing the toes, whatever feels better. And then take your hands behind your back, grabbing onto the tops of the feet or the ankles. And on your inhale, lift everything up. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, slowly lower down. Make a pillow with the hands. Windshield wiper the legs, side to side. And then as you're ready, we'll plant the hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, just sit back onto your seat. So we'll take 2 forward folds. The first one will be a little bit more active, flexing the feet towards the face. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge at the hips to fold forward, countering those back bends. Bringing your big toes, or your peace sign fingers rather, to your big toes. If you can't catch the big toes, just let the arms go long. Focus on keeping the spine nice and long here, keeping the neck long and the gaze forward. 2 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, slowly come back up. And we'll find a more restorative forward fold to really counter those back bends that we took. So coming onto the heels, bending the knees as much as you need to connect the chest to the thighs. And then just giving yourself a hug, wrapping the arms underneath the thighs. Just let the head, the neck, and the shoulders round forward. Maybe the forehead rests on the knees. Releasing the lower back. So if it feels okay and you can keep the chest connected to the thighs, you might start to walk the heels a little bit farther away from you. And when you feel the chest and the thighs disconnect from one another, you will know you have gone a little bit too far. Couple breaths here. And slowly start to unwind the arms from underneath the legs, coming back to an upright seated position. And then we'll find a twist here, so taking the right foot and planting it to the outside of the left leg. And from here you can keep the left leg out long, or you can also bend that left knee, finding half Lord of the Fishes. Plant the right hand behind the back. Inhale, lift the left fingertips up. And on your exhale, either give yourself a hug with the left arm or bend the left arm to a 90-degree angle. Take the outside of the left arm to the outside of the right leg. Twisting to the right. On your next inhale, come back to center. Just take a quick counter twist to the other side. And we'll find a little bit of playfulness here. Crossing that right leg completely over the left. And then just roll onto your back. Grab onto the tops of the feet, keeping the legs crossed. And as you pull the knees in towards the face, press the feet down towards the ground. You'll continue to feel this stretch in the outer right hip. One more breath here. And then as you're ready, uncross the legs, rock and roll back up to a seated position, sending both of the legs out long in front of you. And then taking the left foot, planting it outside of the right leg. Stay here or bend the right knee, bringing the right heel in towards the left seat. Plant the left hand behind the back. Inhale, reach the right fingertips to the sky and find your twist. Either give yourself a hug or cactus that arm. Again, using the leverage of the arm into the thigh or the outside of the knee to twist a little bit deeper here. And slowly make your way back through center. Counter twist to the other side, just for a breath. And then coming back to center, crossing the legs completely, really squeezing any space in between the lower thighs, and just rock onto your back, grabbing the tops of the feet. This time the left leg is on top, and as you squeeze the knees in towards the face, you'll reach the feet down to the earth. This time you'll feel this more in the left hip. And as you're ready, you'll uncross the legs, hug both of the knees into the chest, give yourself a little squeeze. And then keeping the right knee in, send the left leg out long. Plant the left palm on the left thigh, keeping that thigh connected to the mat. And then grab onto the inside or outside edge of the right foot, finding a half happy baby. Pulling that knee in towards the right armpit, maybe finding a little bit of movement here. Maybe massaging the bottom of the foot. And then as you're ready, grab onto the right knee with the left hand and just gently guide that right knee over the left leg. If it feels better to bend both of the knees and cross them or stack them on top of one another in this twist, you can also do that. Right arm can come long or to a cactus. Taking up space here. Couple breaths. And on your next inhale, come back through center. Last side, hug the left knee in, send the right leg out long. Plant the right palm on top of the right thigh. And then grab onto the inside or the outside edge of the left foot. I need to position my head perfectly so I can lay on my bum. And then find a little bit of movement here, pulling the left knee in towards the armpit. And then when you're ready, take the left knee in the right hand and just gently cross the left knee over the right leg. Again, if it feels better, you can stack the knees here or cross them. Left arm out long or to a cactus. Gaze follows the fingertips. Couple deep breaths as we settle in towards our rest here. And on your next inhale, come back through center, hugging both of the knees into the chest. If you think it would feel good, you can take a full happy baby, finding one last little bit of movement here. But whenever you're ready, if there's no other postures you need to close out your practice, Shavasana is there for you. Hugging your knees into your chest, giving yourself one final squeeze, and then letting everything go out long, legs and arms. Scan the body as you start to settle in, noticing feelings, sensations, thoughts, tensions. Set them off to the side for now. They'll be there when you're finished, when you've given yourself this time that you so deserve. Just let everything melt away. And everything is tough, it's pretty extreme. So whatever you can, maybe it's just one thing that you let go of in these final moments. Maybe it's just one muscle that you really allow to release. Invite deeper breaths back into the body. Invite small movements back into the body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling out the wrists and the ankles, shaking the head, yes and no. Eventually finding a full body stretch. Reaching the arms long behind you, pointing through the toes. And when you're ready, rolling onto the right side, knees into chest. Right bicep is your pillow. Finding a breath in the fetal position. Be thankful for your body, your breath, and your mind, and the way that they so beautifully came together throughout your practice. And when you're ready, slowly make your way to a seated position, keeping the eyes closed or the gaze nice and soft. And when you arrive, bring your hands to heart center, and your thumbs to your third eye center, the spot in the middle of the eyebrows. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.